Do you like to break me down when I'm shattered on the ground? Are you happy? Are you happy? All I wanted was your love. Was I asking for too much? Are you happy? Are you happy? Do you like to break me down when I'm shattered on the ground? Are you happy? Are you happy? All I wanted was your love. Was I asking for too much? Are you happy? Are you happy? You break me down off the ground. You happy? You happy?
Hello my soul family, welcome to the Love Show for April of 2021. My name is Krista Ramirez and I'm your soul coach. So today is such a wonderful day to do this love show because I am really truly feeling true love on the rise. And this is key word, true love, right? All the falsity, all the love that has been in the past relationships that didn't work out. I'm not saying that they were bad per se, but they were a lesson that now needs to be let go of. And so God is telling us today to keep believing in this love, because I know a lot of you are singles out there that are listening and watching into this show. And just because you're single at this moment doesn't mean that eventually this true love won't come in to charm you and sweep you off your feet. And you know, I wanted to talk about what I feel is the love energy for this month of April. This is definitely a month of love blossoming. This is the peak of springtime, and this is when finally the harvest is gonna come in. We've been doing the waiting, we've been doing the hard work behind the scenes, and now God is telling us that all we need to do is wait for that divine timing as to when it is supposed to enter our life. Whether that be a new relationship, if you're already in a relationship, whether that be the transformation and rebirth of your relationship, or whether that be literally starting over with a new person if you're single right now. And God is telling us to please not lose hope, because you know the opposite of hope is basically thinking that you know it all, right? And that means that the people who have lost hope are not doing anything to better further themselves, heal themselves more, do more inner work, facing shadows. When you've come to a point where you think that you are already perfect the way your life is, some people can reach that state, but it's not very likely because there's always something for improvement. God is telling us that we're living in an eternal, limitless possibilities of a world, so meaning there's unlimited potential to keep rising and transcending. And as we continue to transcend these human distortions that are keeping us bounded to earth, to temptations, to earthly things that are not of the divine, then it's only self-sabotage, right? And I feel like there's definitely a group of two people in the collective, like two wavelengths. One of them is really meticulous and really disciplined with doing their healing work. And these are the people that find themselves hermit mode, lots of the times alone, because no one's at that level, no one understands. And when these people try to open up, people are like, what are you talking about? Because they have no clue as to what this journey feels like, or whatever the energy is, because guess what? They're clouded by the mundane. They're clouded by the opposite of light. Because that's the truth. Remember we spoke about in the fashion show the power of love's duality. There's an opposite to everything, a polar opposite to everything. So what do you think the opposite of light is? It's darkness, the shadows. And if you're not in the light right now, if you're looking for the light, then that means that you're in the darkness. Because if you were in the light, there will be no reason or need for you to search for the light, right? But of course, there is no shame if you're in that position, because I know that that's also something that holds people back. And you know what that's called? That's called pride. That's called ego. When people think that they don't need help, or that they're already in the light, but internally they know that they're not because they're struggling or they're in doubt, their faith is shattered and unstable, then that means that their pride and ego is holding them back. And that's where A Course in Miracles teaches us that we have the free will to choose love over fear. But if fear is ruling your life, then you know that your ego has taken over and you've basically given your power away to your own ego. And the first key step in reaching this spiritual sacred love is being able to let go of the ego, to solve it 100%. It's not about 75 or 85%. It has to be completely, because any speck of ego has the potential to grow even bigger. Kind of like cancerous cells, right? One cell contaminates the other and it has the potential to ruin all the other ones. That's how the darkness works. That's how the ego works in our mind. And of course, this is all metaphorical, because remember that everything that manifests physically, its initial root was either mental, emotional, or spiritual, going down the ladder in that order, being the most profound, the spiritual health. So if you want to achieve and reach true spiritual alignment, to be able to attract this kind of high vibrational love, you really need to open yourself to this spiritual guidance. And this is what I'm doing for a living right now in my life, in this phase of my life, because who knows where I might be in the future. So take advantage of where I'm at right now, and then I'm giving my energy to this work. Because like all things, things come to an end and it circles. And so God is reminding us that if you see someone that you admire, don't be jealous, but rather follow in their footsteps. Because that's something that I learned in psychology. If anybody is experiencing emotions of jealousy or envy, in the therapeutic sense, that only means that deep down you admire them. So why not accept that by dropping the ego, which is that mask that's trying to tell you that it's just jealousy, or that you can never reach that place, or that they're better than you for some reason. No, drop the ego that's telling you all that trash in your head, because that's what it is, right? It's like, what are you going to listen to, the angel or the devil on the shoulder? Like that song, right? The Angel on Your Shoulder. That was a song that came out like way back in the year 2000, and I was in love with that song ever since it came out, because it really does speak about the everyday spiritual journey and the inner battle that we all undergo. It's that battle between light and dark, the duality of love as well. Because if you hate, that only means that deep down you're passionate about that person or thing or activity, because really it's love in the other way around. So God teaches us in the Course in Miracles, Jesus Christ and God of course, that you can transmute that hate or that anger or whatever negative emotion you're feeling that's low vibrational and keeping you heavy, grounded, chained to earth. Then you must dissipate that and transmute that into love and light. And that's how you get to the other side. Because I know that right now we're all in this purgatory state. The transition is the worst place to be in. It's between the left and the right. It's in between the low and the high. It's in between the dark and the light. And a lot of us, the whole collective, is in this place right now. And if you want to learn more about this specific theme, this is what my Lightworker University presentation for this year was about, the 2021 presentation, which I called it the rebirth, the awakening and the rebirth. And this is also what my journal is based on, because it really is this. This is what we're all undergoing. We are still undergoing this transformation, and even until next year, because my next year's theme is the metamorphosis, which there will be a journal as well. So we need to surrender to the timing of the process and have more patience on our journey, because I know that this is getting a little bit of people frustrated or in the state of losing hope for their future. And this is where my new Utamic Soul Coaching program also comes into play. That's a program that I created specifically for this transition phase between the old self and the new you. And this is a program that I've been working on for years already. I'm even working on the book now, because I find it that God has really channeled this message for me ever since I started my brand, Soul Coaching, which was in August of 2019. That's when I first got the idea of a new you, my 10-week Soul Coaching program. And it's never died yet with me. It's only been growing and evolving. Every time that I teach that course, it's only better. This is my third time around teaching that course, and my fourth time is going to be in Spanish. So you can just imagine already how innately rooted that program is within me, and how much I've done it on my own as well. I've watched the videos of my program and I've done the journaling as well, and it really does make a difference. I can't just explain to you how miraculous of a healing, deep internal it is, because it's more than therapy and it's more than just spiritual guidance per se. It's both of them combined, which is what soul coaching is about. It's about our soul evolution, our soul growth, and our soul transcendence into our higher self, because that is what this journey is about. That's what this life on earth is about, our incarnation. And I really want to bring in this hope for you all, be this rock and beacon of hope for you all today. And I'm confirming you that God has reassured me many times whenever I've been in doubt, whenever I've been in my knees crying and asking, when is my situation going to change? And God kind of sat me down and helped me to see things from a higher and different perspective. It's about being grateful for where you're at, right? Maybe if it's not your dream yet, or maybe you're not fully % liberated or free in your life, that's okay, because God is telling us that every phase of our life is a significant initiation process, and it needs to happen. It's an important stage in your life. Just like every life phase that we go through when we grow up, from a child, from a teenager to a young adult, and to finally a grown adult, every phase has its moments, has its lessons, and has its value. So we should appreciate where we're at and know that life happens for us, not to us, because maybe you're really not that ready as you think that you are, whether that be for the next phase in your life, whether that be for true love, or whether that be for just your ultimate dream to come true. Maybe you think you're ready, and that's what your ego wants you to believe, and that's what will make people rebel against God and angry with God, because they think that their timetable is more correct than God's. But trust that God knows best than us. God is our ultimate father, even above our parental fathers in human form, right? It's about forgiving everything, your parents as well, because that has a lot to do with relationship and love and romance. And it's about just forgiving just God even for where you're at, because maybe you think that you should be someplace else, or maybe you wish that your life events could have turned out a different way. Maybe you wish that some experience in your life could have been a trauma hadn't happened. But then that's like complaining and blaming God for where we're at. And God doesn't want us to do that, because God is not like that. God doesn't want us to make us feel guilty. Remember that any guiltfulness comes from the ego, and guiltlessness is what's going to bring us to this salvation, redemption, and atonement, this reinvention of ourselves, and eventually love. Because yes, this true love is on the horizon, it's on the rise, it's blossoming into its fullest potential. And I feel like this goes for all of spring, which spring ends basically right before summer, which we still have a few months in spring. We're just at the beginning phases, so think about that. I feel like when we get to summer is when we're going to start to see the final blossomings and fruit of those plants that we've been seeding. And then fall and winter is more of like where the cultivation of that harvest is going to come in. But I feel like the peak of the harvest is going to probably be summer, and then right now in spring is all about patience. Okay, so I feel like what's really going to help us even during these times, maybe if you want to get into this new habit, or hobby should I say, of gardening, and see for yourself how this life cycle in plants go. Maybe a lot of you are pregnant, which is another form of harvesting something, right? And maybe some of you are just birthing something new in your life, like part of your career, or your mission, or a project. Or maybe it's this new love, this new partnership that eventually down the line will lead to marriage and a family. So we're all being called to think about that quality over quantity. Okay, and I actually want to talk about this. I was thinking about this the other day, okay, about not rushing this love, because this is what also a lot of people do to sabotage their love life. So let me educate you a little bit on love therapy. Okay, so before we get to the spiritual guidance for today, and when it comes to love and when it comes to dating, I see a lot of people take it really fast, right? They start to get to know each other. Maybe they've, been intimate, and now they think that they're in love, and they want to take it to the next level. They become boyfriend, girlfriend. They love it. It's been only a few weeks or a few months, and now they're ready to get married, right? And then you see 1 or 2 years from then, not even like 10, because the quicker you get into it, the quicker you'll get out of it. That's my motto, and that's what I've witnessed as an experience with couples therapy and just in life in general. I'm a very good observer, and I've always been the observer in relationships. And to be honest, it's very true, because if you're rushing into something, there has to be a deep core reason as to why you're rushing, right? Is it the loneliness that's eating at you? Is it the fear that you might not find someone down the line? Is it the fear that you're getting older? Is it the fear that your life is running out? Those are the deep subconscious wounds that make people want to rush in life, especially when it comes to love and taking it fast. Because if you're taking it fast, that only means that you're not really appreciating its true value. Because think about it, a diamond versus just a black coal. Let's say that you were going to buy a ring for someone, and you're going to buy a ring that has a beautiful gem that's cost millions of dollars, and then the other one is just a little gold band that's not really even 100% gold. Let's just say that, for example. And independent of how much you make, right? But let's just put the metaphor. How much do you think that it's going to take to work for that more expensive gem? It's going to take more work, right, out of your salary, more money, because of its worth. It's rare, right? It wouldn't be worth that cost if it were not rare. That's why diamonds cost a lot of money, because they're rare, they're special. But if you just give anybody just not even 100% gold band, and okay, again, to emphasize, it's nothing to do with how much money you make, but the example that I'm giving here is basically, which one do you think has more value? And the answer is pretty obvious, right? It's the rare diamond. So we need to see love in that way. Not just put a ring on a finger on just anybody that comes your way because you just want to move that next level in your life. That's actually forcing destiny, and that's a little bit rebelling towards God, because God knows what's best for us, and He's saving the best for last. He's saving that precious gem for you, but you need to give it room and space to cultivate into its fullest potential. And that's again why a lot of people fail in love, and why why a little few people out there have this true kind of spiritual strong bond when it comes to spiritual love. It takes time. And I know that many of you are already in the older ages, but this is where now the spiritual connection comes in, right? How do I explain this? Because I know that a lot of people who are perhaps resonating with this message might be already in the older ages. Let's say 40 and above, right? First of all, you are in that time of your life because that's how God wanted it. So trust in that and trust the destiny. And it should still be getting to know each other, okay? At least 2 years, because that is actually scientifically proven and psychologically proven in many studies that by the second year is when the partners start to show their true colors. So cohabiting is not a good idea before the 2 years because of that reason, because it's not going to be genuine. And anyways, if you cohabit before you're married, then what's left after you get married, right? So there's very little reason to jump the next level if you're already doing it all with that person, you see? So keep it sacred, keep every phase of even the courtship journey sacred, and don't jump the next step, like the next base, before it's time, because then it loses its value, it loses the excitement, and it loses the passion. So this is about taking it slow, and of course that it's mutual and receptive, the love. We're not talking about unreciprocated love, because I know that there's another group of people out there as well that are like obsessed with one form of person or or that's just called like an attachment to something that's not for you, and that's actually what's keeping those people behind. Because if this is true love, this should feel natural, easy flowing, right? And there should be no forcefulness, even in jumping the next phase, during the courtship phase. So I do feel like this true love on the rise is bringing in more of ancient, antique courtship strategies in a way, like how it used to be back then. Think of the movie Twilight again. I know this movie, I've mentioned it before, but this is exactly what, especially the divine masculine energy, is being called to embody. That Edward energy. He was very, very ancient, and he was very meticulous with who he chose to date. In fact, he didn't date anybody, and he only dated Bella because he had found that he knew in his heart that he had found the one. So that's how love is. It literally is like a love at first sight kind of feeling. But you just know, and especially if you're highly intuitive, you should know this, and you will feel this. So surrender to this, because if you're not feeling that right now, don't try to force it to feel it. Don't lie to yourself that you're feeling it when you're really not, because you're only hurting yourself in the process. You're only delaying the true one, and you're only going to create more tower moments in the life. Because if something's not true that you're allowing to enter into your life, it is bound to create tower moments sooner or later. And again, this has been way confirmed so many times in people's lives that I've witnessed. They're very stubborn about it in the beginning, and of course at that moment when you're in love blindly, nobody can tell you that that's not the one, right? Because that will only be like, okay, you're not supporting my decision, and that creates, whether that be family drama or friends drama, they're trying to help you. Because a lot of the times it's people on the outside that see it and not the people on the inside. And this is something that people can deal with, and if you're blind to it when you're in the situation, it can be very difficult to get out when you're already enmeshed in those emotional cords that are sucking away your life force. So you need to be very discerning with the love partner that you choose to spend your time with, that you choose to take it to the next level. And I promise you, God is promising us today that this whole modern way of getting to know people and dating is not the way to do it. I can't just emphasize that enough, because that's never been my thing, to date around, have like a couple people that I'm dating, who's gonna be the best. But I have had that done to me before, and it really takes away from the whole, it's like a turn off. You don't want to even talk to that person anymore, because the whole point of a spiritual love is that you should feel like the one and only, right? So God is promising us today that the true way to find spiritual love is that you will just know. If you don't know it, have courage to let it go in the moment, even if you don't have another option. That's the test of faith. And I know it's going to be difficult for a lot of people who are too grounded to earth, who think that they need these sexual, physical needs. God is telling us no. When you can transcend those root chakra needs, you're stepping up the next level, and you're going to find that next level kind of love, which I know that not a lot of people are here, because I'm feeling right now the spiritual area as I'm talking about the spiritual love, because I've gotten myself to this point. And yes, that's why I've been single for so long, but I am much more happier this way, because at least I'm not draining myself in a relationship that's not for me. And trust me that I've been in a relationship like that. The only one relationship I've had, one serious relationship, and everybody outside of me saw it, but I didn't. And I came out of that relationship so drained, so low on my life. But guess what? Those lowest of the moments, when you hit rock bottom, only bring you to the highest of moments. That's when I started to begin my rise and my spiritual awakening. And that's what brings me here. I want to say almost 3.5 years later, almost 4 years, that I am here more confident than ever. I would never accept a situation like that ever again. If that little girl back then would have been in my shoes, it would have been a completely different story. And this is why, I started a new series in my Spiritual Counseling TV network, the Woman Empowerment Forum show series. Because I know a lot of young girls especially, I'm only 31, I know I look very young, but I've been through my experiences, and I know how much it hurts to not have this mentor. And especially, when there's a lot of females out there that are not really that supportive of another woman. And that's called, unempowered woman. Empowered woman, empower woman. And this is about following in that step of a positive role model, which that's just my dream of wanting to be this for women out there. Being that way shower that you need to take your stand. You need to put yourself in that position of royalty and treat yourself like you're a divine child of God and know your worth. Not accept anything less and know your boundaries. That's very important, which just requires assertiveness. And all of these qualities that are required for us to step into this new self is what my new You Tell Me Soul Coaching program is. Every week out of the 10 weeks is a different theme or quality that I want you all to cultivate and develop. Because I promise you that's going to make you into this empowered woman that I find myself in this position today. And it took me a lot of hard work, a lot of lonely nights. It took me just a lot of tears, a lot of sorrow, because when you're not awakened, you make mistakes. It's inevitable. But when you awaken on your spiritual journey and you awaken to the potential of the true spiritual love, that's the ancient kind, that it's not our fault that we're born in this modern era, but due to societal brainwash, that has been lost and erased. And I want to bring in this concept again of ancient spiritual love, which that was actually the theme for the January Love Show. You might want to rewatch or watch it for the first time if you haven't already, because I do talk about the ancient love, this ancient love that is the spiritual love that I'm talking about. This is not your regular dating situation. So if that's what you're looking for, this show is definitely not for you. I'm talking about the trueness, and it's going to require sacrifice to be alone. In the meantime, I'm not telling you forever. God is telling us not forever, because God wants us to be in union. And you know what's the perfect evidence? Adam and Eve. Adam was lonely, the divine masculine, because he had no one on this heavenly paradise, the Garden of Eden, to enjoy the heaven and paradise on earth. So God blessed him with Eden, the female counterpart, the twin of Adam, literally, because she was born of the ribs of his. And I know that this is a metaphor. You know, many people have, whether that's a myth or whether that's truth, it doesn't matter, because the story morally is the same, right? And this is the point that I want to bring to you. Don't settle until you found your true equal spiritual counterpart, okay? And it's out there for you. If you're thinking about this, if you're dreaming about this, if you're watching this show and you're searching for it, I promise you that it's here in this lifetime. Now, it's up to you. It's not up to me if you find it or not, because this has all to do with the vibration that we find ourselves in. It's like a magnetic force, and the inner healing work that we've done. So kind of like the level of transcendence that you keep rising. There's a certain limit that won't allow for this to come in. Okay, think of like a barometer. When it starts to turn green, I'm kind of dressed in green, that's when you're starting to get ready, when you're blossoming. Of course, the ultimate blinking light at the top. And I'm seeing more like a purple light, like the third eye chakra, awakening in a way. When you're able to see through your spiritual eye, when you're able to see the spiritual realm, even if it's not physically here, when you believe in miracles, that's when you're at the ultimate attraction level of this spiritual love. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful way to begin today's show. It was totally unexpected today. I didn't even think that I was gonna do this show today. I was actually gonna postpone it for next week. But God really pushed me to come here today and talk about love, because I was feeling like I needed this love fuel. I needed this love talk too. And again, that's how God works in miraculous ways, in mysterious ways. So let's get to our spiritual guidance. And you know that I all love Botticelli, Andrea Botticelli, right? The Renaissance artist. Of course, I have the classic Birth of Venus painting in the background, and I love it. And so I'm bringing all of his artwork in these tarot cards, which this is why I love this certain collection, because it's very special. It's very unique as well. So let's get started. Make sure that you also check out my poetry class at my School of Light. We are getting to some great stuff, and the next topic for the next poetry class is actually Romeo and Juliet. It's gonna be so amazing, so romantic, because now we're gonna get to the real talk about spiritual love. We've been talking more about the spiritual journey in the first 2 episodes, or should I say the first 3 episodes, and it's been really great. And you can take a look at it right now, christopherramirez.com/school. There's a current 80% off sale for this whole entire month of April. April 30th is the last day. 80% off. So this means only $10 a month for life, of course, until you cancel, which I hope you don't. And of course, there's other cool exclusive content, other classes, other weekly shows that I do, and prayer circles, etc. Spiritual gatherings, the spiritual book club, where you can have access to A Course in Miracles as well. Okay, so let's get started to the spiritual guidance now. All right. Botticelli, let's get some ancient sacred wisdom. All right, let's see. Let's get a general spiritual guidance for our love life this month of April. And right away, we have the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is all about visualization, envisioning what it is that we see ahead in our future. What kind of relationship do you want? Literally put yourself in that situation, because the true key in visualization, especially when it comes to a romantic partnership, is to truly envision day to day, how would you like your life to be with your partner? If there's no room if there's no space in your life or in your heart to welcome in a partner, then guess what? It's going to be very difficult. And it's very interesting that she's kind of dressed like with a similar dress like mine, but she's harvesting here fruits as well. So again, the divine waiting and envisioning. Look ahead 5-10 years from now. Do you want to have a lifetime with a partner, or are you the kind of person that's going to get bored? Because if that's the case, then probably you're not really searching for a spiritual lover. There needs to be just one person. It's like it becomes family. So you would not switch around your family, right? That's how a partner is. They become a part of your family. Three of Wands, and of course alignment, body, mind, spirit. And then we have the Knave of Wands in reverse. I feel like this is where the divine feminine is at, and I feel like this is where the divine masculine is at. The Knave of Wands in reverse, I feel like he's lacking assertiveness in a way, solar plexus chakra. And for the feminine, again, I channeled this in the last spiritual talk. She's cultivating her sacral chakra, getting into her creativity, her artistic side. And the divine masculine is really finding that courage and boldness to step forward and communicate his truth, his love, because I feel like there is a difficulty with this in the divine masculine's life. Why is that? Let's get a little extra for the divine masculine. And right away, Two of Chalices in reverse, and I feel like the message that I just got right now, I feel like the divine masculines don't feel like it's possible, or like they're not worthy of this love, or they don't feel good enough, which has a lot to do with solar plexus, self-esteem. Maybe they failed in past partnerships or marriages. Maybe they're divorced, and they think that they're a failure in love because of that. But that's not true. Like I just began this talk, every situation was a lesson. And that's the thing, you know, if you're staying in this guiltful state, that's allowing your ego to take over. You're giving your power away to this guilt. But if you let go of the shame and you move on to this guiltlessness, that it was just the way it was meant to be, maybe now you can forgive yourself as well for perhaps taking it too fast. That's the lesson, right? Don't do what you did the first time around, and don't do it the second time around, because obviously if it didn't work the first time, it's not going to work the next time. Whether or not that's a different person, it doesn't matter. It's about doing things right. Everything has divine order, and God wants us to be disciplined with his order, right? With the way of life that he wants us to live by. So I just opened up here and I asked for an extra message for the divine feminines, and she got the Four of Chalices. I feel like she is in sorrow. She is a little bit in also manifesting energy. She's like putting this healing touch to all that she does. It's a very nice energy, very powerful, because that's what a divine sacred feminine is about. She holds the power in her hands, right? And let's get a union energy. How can these two counterparts come together? What is needed to heal? And I think it's a lot to do with communication. Communication, maybe some reconcilement. needing to also reach an inner emotional stability. I feel like it also has to do with independence, financial stability. Knave of Chalices in the reverse, it has to do more with emotional stability and expressing these emotions, not being ashamed of what we're feeling, and continuing this hard work. We're hard at work in achieving this abundance, material wealth and stability, and waiting for the harvest to come. Let's see what extra, again, dropping of the ego, the Fool card in reverse, but in this deck is pretty different. I feel like this is for the masculine. And letting go of anger as well, like I said in the beginning, right? Anger that maybe you're not at this position yet that you want. Maybe anger at past partners. Anger at yourself for allowing these situations to happen. Because all of that needs to go. That's low vibrational energy. And then one final message for how can we raise our vibration to attract this love, which is kind of what we got at the beginning, but I want to just get a little bit deeper insight, because at the beginning we got more separate energies. Now, again, sacral chakra, music, arts, beauty, artistic crafts are going to help us to letting go of heartbreak, Three of Swords, right? Letting go of past heartbreaks. And Seven of Wands. Yeah, letting go of past wounds, past traumas, and seeing the spiritual lesson in it. That's what I'm feeling. Because this is the angel of love as well, coming to heal us. And interesting that we got the Star card in the reverse at the bottom, and I opened up and we got the Three of Chalices. This is about the celebration and unions. The angels working behind the scenes to celebrate and make this union happen, but purification is needed. I feel like this purification from past situations, inner, emotional, health, and just anything that is not of light. Letting the ego go 100%. I know it's going to sound difficult, but this is what's also in alignment this year. The stars are aligning. See the Star card, but it's just not time yet. So since it was in the reverse, it will soon be time. So surrender to divine timing. Ace of Swords for this victory to eventually come. And that's a beautiful card. And you know what? The Star card I feel like also represents September. So it might be like during fall time, like what I just said in the beginning. For those of you who are resonating with this timing, for sure. And it's gonna be the ultimate victory of your life, gold. And I just want one more final message, overall message for today. That's just for today as you're watching this video. What can you do today to better your romantic life? And right away, we're gonna get the upright, and we got the Justice card. Balance. Know that all of it will be brought to justice. If you've been a victim in the past, that will be brought to justice in God's eyes. Take your power back. Know that also this kind of love is of equality. So if you're dealing with anything of like control issues or dominative energies, then this is a key factor that you need to heal, because true love partnership is equal. Both feminine and masculine are equal, unforceful, it's natural. They both come together nicely and gracefully. It's not one pushing more than the other. It's not even overly chasing. That's another myth. True love doesn't chase. Yes, you go and court your woman or your feminine, but it's just there's a fine line between chasing and courting, right? So if you're chasing, that means it's not reciprocal. So the Justice energy, if we think about it, it's also the number 8. It's the rebirth, the 8 card, right? And if I'm thinking about also the rebirth, this is kind of like 8th house energy in astrology, ruled by Scorpio, bringing in this passion alive. This is an eternal love. This is the infinity sign. And this will come to light because true love always wins. And God is making this happen because that's in God's favor. God wants this spiritual love to come into union, because that He knows that they will bring the mission into fruition and make it revolutionary in this world. And that's what this love is for. That's why He put these twins on the planet, to do the work, to be the love, and to be the way showers to this ultimate new world, new earth, new life. And that's how we're going to end today's show, everybody. My name is Krista Ramirez, and I'm your soul coach. Thank you all for watching today's show. Please share this video, and please make sure to sign up to my free mailing list on my website, KristaRamirez.com, for access to my weekly and monthly newsletters. In my monthly newsletters, I write an extra heavenly message in a blog article based on this love show, as well as the fashion show, all of it provided by my spiritual counseling TV network. And if you want more exclusive content, such as your daily morning spiritual guidance, therapy sessions, motivational speeches, my Women's Empowerment Forum series, and so much good more stuff coming up, even for children's therapy, you definitely want to be a member to access all of this exclusive content that's educational and very helpful for your soul journey at KristaRamirez.com/TV. Watch all the trailers there, and I'm wishing you all a blessed love journey. Thank you all again, and namaste. Welcome to my School of Light, and welcome to our poetry class. My name is Krista Ramirez, and I'm your soul coach. So today is going to be an exciting day, because today we're going to review and read and discuss Shakespeare's sonnets. I was really guided to look at his sonnets first because they are like poetry in the form of music, right? Obviously he's a poet, but they're shorter, and I want to go into what he was trying to portray in message form with his poetry. Because remember, Shakespeare was an awakened being. He really was, and he was even awakened to the spiritual love. He was awakened to the power of love to change realities, to heal, and to create revolutionary transcendence. And that's what we're all in need of during these times. So it's going to be a very exciting session today, and I hope that you've enjoyed the other episodes and poetry that we have gone over so far. Very illuminating and very enlightening. So let's begin then. Get comfortable and let's get started.